It began on a quiet stretch of highway that rarely made the news. A place where truckers passed through without slowing down, where tourists rolled their windows up, and where locals refused to drive after midnight. To the outside world, it was just another piece of forgotten asphalt cutting through the desert. But to three motorcycle clubs who shared a long and bloody history, that highway was a border one drawn not by the government, but by the road itself. And on one violent night, that border erupted into a war that shut the entire highway down. Most people don't realize how quickly a highway can turn into a battlefield. It doesn't take gunfire. It doesn't take explosions. It takes tension, raw, unspoken tension that has been building for years. A look exchanged at a gas station. A patch glimpsed through the window of a bar. A rumor spreading from one chapter to another. For motorcycle clubs, history is never just history. It's fuel. And on this particular night, the tank was already overflowing. The story begins with a convoy. 15 riders from a club known for their discipline, their unity, and their willingness to defend their territory without hesitation. They were riding home from a memorial service, engines low, formation tight, each man carrying the weight of a fallen brother. They weren't looking for trouble. They were just trying to get home. But trouble was waiting for them. About 10 miles up the road, another group rode out of the darkness. This club was notorious for their unpredictability, their tempers, and their refusal to acknowledge anyone's territory but their own. They had lost riders to victims of old conflicts, unresolved grudges, and a long chain of decisions that led to this very moment. Their leader, a man known for letting anger steer his handlebars, decided that tonight was the night to settle everything. What neither group expected was the third club. A smaller chapter, a wild card with shifting alliances, riding silently toward the same stretch of highway. Their intentions were unclear. Some believed they came to mediate, others believed they came to watch, and some insist to this day that they came to take advantage of the chaos they knew was about to unfold. 3 clubs. One road, no exits. The first confrontation wasn't dramatic. It began with a simple act. 2 groups riding side by side, engines snarling, tires inches apart. The kind of proximity that turns adrenaline into fear and fear into instinct. A few glances, a few words thrown across the lanes, and then a single gesture, small, almost unnoticeable, but with a meaning every biker understands. A challenge. Within seconds, the formation shattered. Engines roared to their limits. Bikes swerved across the lanes. The highway echoed with the screech of metal scraping asphalt. Trucks approaching from the opposite direction slammed their brakes, skidding into the dirt to avoid the chaos. One rider clipped a saddlebag. Another lost control and slid across the center line, sparks lighting up the road like fireflies. When the third club arrived, the situation exploded. Their appearance threw the balance into panic. No one knew which side they were on. No one knew if they intended to help or escalate. The uncertainty was gasoline on open flame. One rider lunged. Another retaliated. And suddenly, the highway became a storm of fists, boots, engines, and bodies. Not a cinematic shootout. Not a Hollywood brawl. This was raw, real, and desperate. The kind of fight where the road itself becomes a weapon. Cars backed up for miles. Some drivers abandoned their vehicles and ran. Others hid behind guardrails, filming the chaos with shaking hands. The sound was indescribable, engines screaming, men shouting, metal clashing, and the relentless thud of boots hitting asphalt. And then the moment came that shut the highway down. A rider, blinded by adrenaline and rage, hit the throttle and shot straight toward the center of the fight. His bike fishtailed, slammed into another rider, and sent both men tumbling across the road. Their bikes slid under an oncoming semi-truck. The semi jackknifed, the trailer tipped, and the entire highway collapsed into chaos as metal crumpled and dust erupted into the night sky. The road was officially closed. Police arrived within minutes, but it took hours to control the scene. Not because the bikers kept fighting, most of them, or too injured or too exhausted, but because the highway had transformed into a wreckage site. Bikes scattered like broken bones, helmets cracked. Blood smeared across the pavement in long, uneven lines. And in the middle of it all, the leaders of the three clubs stood silently, staring at the destruction they had created. What followed became legendary in the outlaw world. Charges were filed. Bikes were impounded. Members disappeared, some willingly, some not. Alliances shifted overnight. Old grudges hardened into permanent scars. And the highway where it all happened earned a new name. The Line. A place where three clubs crossed boundaries they could never uncross. Survivors still talk about that night. Not with pride, but with a quiet, heavy tone. Many say it wasn't a battle, it was a warning. A reminder that the road is neutral until men force it to take sides. A reminder that brotherhood can turn into bloodshed in the space of a heartbeat. A reminder that no matter how powerful a club is, one mistake on the highway can change everything. Today, when bikers ride that stretch of asphalt, they slow down. They look around. They feel the weight of what happened there. Not because they fear violence returning, but because they know the road remembers. Tire marks fade. Headlines disappear. But some nights, especially when the air is still and the desert quiets, you can almost swear you hear engines echoing in the distance, long after the clubs have gone. If you want more true outlaw stories, more roads soaked in tension, more moments that shaped modern motorcycle culture, make sure you subscribe and stay with us. Because the next episode takes us deeper into the shadows, into a motel siege that nearly wiped out an entire club. Next time, we explore the motel siege at Red Valley.